Welcome back to Tell Vanessa. I'm your host, Vanessa Cruickshank. So what do we have in store for you this evening? Well, we have an interesting topic and debate, a community issue and business, and of course, we'll feature your dilemmas. Then we're going to finish with some good music. So for the next 30 minutes, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Tell Vanessa. Today we discuss female genital mutilation. The thought alone sends shivers down my spine, but this affects more than 200 million women and girls around the world and is a human rights issue deeply rooted in gender inequality and discrimination. In 2003, the maximum penalty for any FGM offence increased from 5 to 14 years imprisonment, but to date, no one has been convicted in England and Wales, even though we know that this still goes on. To discuss, we have 3 women activists who work to abolish gender inequality and discrimination. Good evening, ladies. Ladies, do you want to tell the viewers who you are?
My name is Jacqui Hunt. I'm the Europe Director of Equality Now, a women's organisation that does advocacy for women's rights internationally.
And my name is Alimatu Dimonekene. I'm an anti-FGM campaigner and a community activist and founder of ProjectACEi, which is an FGM survivor-led organisation based in London. And we work around educating communities and professionals about the risks associated with FGM and training and work within the community.
I'm Jenny Tonge, a former NHS doctor and member of the House of Commons. I'm now in the House of Lords, and I chair a big all-party parliamentary group on population development and reproductive health. And FGM has been one of the subjects we've been tackling recently.
My first question is for you, Alimatu. You are a community activist and you're also the founder of ProjectACEi, but you've got personal experience of FGM. Tell the viewers a little bit about the traditional motivations behind this and what happened to you.
Well, mine was quite simple. Given that I was from a privileged background, my grandmother wanted me to marry somebody who was of that status in the community. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. It left me with severe complications and consequences as a result of my FGM, and I needed to do something. So I founded ProjectACEi to sort of voice myself and getting people to know about the dangers associated with it, and that it needed to stop because there was nothing in it for us as women or girls. And so we have done quite a lot to date, and we're quite proud of the work that we have done.
Okay. Yeah. Jenny, the failure to prosecute a single case in the UK has been seen as a national scandal, according to the Commons Select Committee. Why has there been no prosecutions?
Well, I think it's a failure at all levels. And also it's a failure of the message not getting through as quickly as everyone hoped. At the Girls' Summit in 2014, there were all sorts of commitments made by the government. And one, of course, was to make all teachers and people who worked with children, social workers, health service workers, doctors, nurses, and especially the police and the border agency, aware of this subject, to not feel embarrassed about talking about it, to know how they could advise young people, and to know when they can actually go to the police and say, I think this is occurring. Because, of course, protection orders can be taken out if you think a child is going to be subjected to this. So, you know, it's a lack of awareness at all levels, which hopefully is getting better. I did speak to a young woman yesterday in the Richmond and Twickenham area who told me that she's a helper at one of our local nurseries, and they'd all had their training on FGM that day, which to me was actually quite, you know, it made me quite pleased, especially as I knew that we were going to talk about it today. That was a good thing. So I think it's getting through, but it's a matter of time and determination.
So Jenny, though, what I wanted to ask you is, this takes place outside of the UK. How can we actually prevent this happening?
I think awareness raising is a big thing, but also political will to address it. Previously it was seen as a cultural practice, but you're right, when you talk about it as a human rights abuse and a child rights abuse, now there's global attention to the issue, so we're publicising it, we're prosecuting it, we're providing services for survivors, and I think all that global push to end the practice is really going to help.
Is this seen, though, as a female issue? Do we need to educate men?
Of course we do. We need to educate men on all sorts of things, not just about this, but this is terribly important. And we need to convince the men that it is bad for them. It always appeals to men if you say, look, this is going to be bad for you. It's bad for them on two counts. One is they'll be married, possibly for decades, to a partner who has got no interest in sex, gets no pleasure out of it, and therefore is not able to give him any pleasure either. And most men actually want to have a bit of feedback from their partner, let's face it. But on the other count, they must be made to understand that this is a terribly damaging thing to happen to a woman. And it's not just at the first intercourse, it's during childbirth. It can cause the most terrible complications before and afterwards. And they really have to realise that this is a damaging practice which can ruin a woman's life, and it will actually ruin their lives as well.
So how important is it to encourage women to come forward?
It's really key, but you have to talk about it in the right way. You have to create a safe space. You have to provide services to support women, but you have to engage also survivors who are speaking from their community and from their own experience. But I also think they need to feel solidarity, that this is an abuse that we all need to deal with. So there are lots of ways to get people involved and encourage women to come forward.
What is your charity actually doing to support women?
Well, we do quite a lot from the messaging around FGM, because obviously we come from an angle of empowering community, empowering women, because we know FGM is very complex. FGM has a wider reach. I mean, for some people, we even will tell you that FGM is just a precursor to other forms of abuse, because wherever FGM happens, there is more likely or the tendency for child marriage to occur, for teenage pregnancy, for other forms of severe domestic and sexual violence. So it's important for everybody to be engaged, to be talking about FGM, in, as Jacqui said, in an open space, a safe space for women, where women are not further ostracized when we use certain languages, you know, because some communities would often tell you, I predominantly go into sort of Africa, because I'm from Africa, and most times the African women will say, well, you're only talking to us as African women about FGM, and why aren't you going to speak to Western women?
Because this doesn't just affect African women, it's
it
women
doesn't.
all
It's
over.
200 million women worldwide. Every year there are 3 million women and girls at risk of this practice.
And what other countries does it take place in?
There varies. I mean, from 30 countries or more, even in Africa, the Middle East. We know new countries like India. The Borat Muslims from India have started a campaign. We know it happens in Malaysia, Singapore, even in Russia, Kyrgyzstan, other countries, because now there's a wider global diaspora solidarity, a wider reach now. Governments, the UK has led the push to get other countries in Europe now. There's massive movement in Europe. I just came back from the US, where the US have just had their first Girls Summit at the back of the UK. So there's this a global sort of talk about it.
It's happening in this country too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still, it's happening. It can happen.
But we do need the
Under the
political
radar.
will and the resources also to community groups
Yes.
to make
So
sure that it is.
if there are viewers listening at home who need to know where do they go for help if they're experiencing something like this, what would they do?
Well, if somebody's at immediate risk, imminent risk, it's to dial 999, the police, or if non-emergency, it's 101. But also the NSPCC helpline. The NHS has got a range of resources online that people can tap into, from talking about safe space to the psychological impact. If you're a young person, you can go to your school and speak directly to the school nurse, because a lot of NHS staff have now been trained, of which the school nurses are.
Okay.
And other organisations. For us, we're sort of the reach, if you can, and we're available on all form of social media or platform. And if you reach out to us, we're reachable, and we could pass on the message to organisations that can be of help.
There is one very important point, I think, is that people must realise that personal sex and health education is not compulsory in our schools in this country. A lot of people think, oh, they'll learn all about these things at school. They won't necessarily. And I think it's very important to everyone to pressure for all schools. If they're state schools, children should learn about sex and health education in their schools, and that way you can teach them about FGM and AIDS and all those other issues
and relationship
around.
education.
And most importantly, relationship education. And it is not compulsory in our schools, and that is outrageous. And government after government, it's just sort of slipped under the radar.
And it's so important because we know from the work that we've done with older women who've been subjected that had I been told, even my body parts, I don't know what the name is, and this is what's going to be taken out. Because it's only the family just said we're going to do a party or FGM, but they're not told exactly what's been done. So teaching a young girl or a young boy that this is what's going to do, not just around FGM, but from grooming to online grooming, trafficking, that if somebody says, come with me, and you're not aware of where you're going, what security should be in place. So sex education is key to ending.
And some schools do it very well. But, you know, it's got to be made compulsory, and that means an act of Parliament to make it compulsory.
And one thing, can they not end the Ealing FGM Centre, please? I had to protest a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you.
Vanessa.
The World Health Organization describes FGM as a violation of human rights against girls and women. But unless women are supported to come forward and prosecutions actually take place, this practice will continue to happen.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa.
It's Deliberate sponsors Tell Vanessa. It's Deliberate sponsors Tell Vanessa.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
Each and every week we cover a community issue or business, and this week I'm here at Xsandy's with Sandra Brown-Pinnock in Lewisham. The black beauty industry is a billion-dollar industry, but we have very limited black-owned businesses. You're a major player in this industry because you manufacture and you have your own beauty shop. Tell me about your story.
Okay, my story is that I became frustrated. I became really frustrated with the hair industry. Just looking around and just seeing that, you know, there was no one like us selling our own hair and our own product. And just the experience that I had with, you know, going into a store, asking for a product, giving the wrong product. And I felt really annoyed about that. So I decided that, you know, I need to get into the industry myself and do it myself to make sure that, you know, I'm going to sell to the people in my community where I know about the products that I'm doing and that I'm selling. For the hair industry, for the hair itself, I do have my own factory, and I came into that by just bumping into someone who wanted investment.
So why do you think it's important that the hair industry, black people work in that industry?
Wow, it's really, really important because what we need to do, we need to put money back into our community, because what you find is that there, you know, when you look on the high street, there's none of us in our own community that is doing this. So the money that is spent, it doesn't stay in the community. So it's really important that we get involved. And when you look around, as I said, there is nothing in our community that we are doing ourselves. So I think that it's really important that if we are spending in this industry, we should also invest in the industry. So I think that it's important that we make sure that we have ownership in it. And I'm not saying that we should all and don't buy from anyone else, but we should have ownership in this industry. And that is my passion, to see more of us doing this.
It's also about the knowledge as well, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Because
you can speak to somebody and they actually know about the hair,
about your skin, your skin, the product, everything that you do, because we know about it ourselves, and there's a wealth of information that we have within our own community. So we know what we want, but yet we go in and ask someone to tell us about our own product.
But you also manufacture your own products. Tell me a little bit about that and how that came about.
Yeah, that came about. I visited my brother who lives in Manhattan. He also has a business, and I was just talking about, really wanting to, because I'm really passionate about hair. When you see me, I can be curly today, tomorrow straight, the next day something else. And so I was just talking about, I need to do my own brand, because the hair that I was buying, to be honest, I buy this hair and it was no good. They said it's 100% human hair, but it wasn't. So I'm spending 40, 50 pounds, and then in 2-3 days, it's no good. I have to throw it away. So if you think about that, over a month, I could spend more than 500 pounds just on hair itself. So I decided I'm going to source this for myself. So I was just talking about it, and my brother's friend, he said, he was just going to open this factory in Cambodia. And I just said, he said, I'm looking for investors. And I'm like, really? So with that, I said, yes. And so I do part own this factory in Cambodia.
So I think you're an inspiration in terms of what you're doing. But you didn't always work in this industry, did you? You used to work in mental health.
Yes.
So what would you say to somebody that wanted to start their own business and they weren't sure how to go about it?
I would say to someone, you want to start your own business, make sure that the business that you're going into, because you can start any business, but you've got to be passionate about the business. You must have that passion. So passion gives you drive. Make sure that the business that you're going in, you know your USP. That is your unique selling point. So make sure that you do your research, that you know exactly where your funds are coming from, where the location, everything. You're going to make sure that you have the knowledge and the skills in whatever you go into, and that passion. You have to have the passion and the drive, because as we know, a major place that closed down, and because they weren't evolving and they weren't looking at what's going on in the market. So you're going to make sure that you're always on top of your game. Know your product. I say have the knowledge, have the skill, because the worst thing that you can do is someone come in, you say, okay, I've got this, and they start asking you about it, and you start going, you immediately confidence is gone. That person is not going to buy whatever they come in to purchase, because they're going to say, she didn't know what she was, I asked her and she didn't really know. So you've got to make sure that you have the knowledge around the product, anything that you're doing.
So what next for you, Sandra?
What next for me? I want to conquer the world, but not. But what I want to do is to have more stores around London. So, and that's my drive that I'm going to do, and then move out into the north, Manchester, Birmingham. So my next store, about March, April, I'll be opening, and that's over in Dalston. Mm-hmm. And then I will look other places. But I really want to have more than 10 shops in and around London, and then move out into the northeast, and just to show people that we can do it, and that if we're doing something, we can do it well. That's one of the things for me, because a lot of people don't have confidence in us, in our community, to say we can't do business. They talk about customer service. They have no customer service. You go in the shop, how shabby the shop might be, and I want to show that we can do it different. And that is why I say to someone, don't say my store is a shop. It's not a shop, it's a store. When you walk in, it's an experience that coming in, and then it's about the customers. Customer service is key. Once the customer walk in and just feel as if they're the most important person in the world while they're in your store or while they're in your establishment, whatever the business that you're doing, you make that person feel welcome. You make that person feel as if, wow, they will tell someone else about it, and they will talk about it, and they will come back. So you'll have that repeat customer, and then you find that your customer base start building.
Thank you.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
This is the part of the show where you tell me your dilemmas, I tell you what I think, and then we take it to the streets. The dilemma this evening is from a guy called Kay. My girlfriend has recently lost 8 stone in weight. She is now super hot. I loved her no matter what size she was. I am a larger man, but now I'm noticing that my girlfriend doesn't want to get intimate with me. She's always commenting about my weight and the food that I eat, which is making me eat more. She's always out, and when we're together, I'm noticing that men are checking her out, and she loves it. This is the first time in her life that she's ever been a size 8, and I'm proud of her, but I feel that I'm losing her.
Tell Vanessa, just tell Vanessa now.
You have to remember that this is all very new to her. She's enjoying the attention. She obviously wasn't happy with her weight before. My advice to you is to talk to her about how you're feeling. You could be right. You may be losing her, but isn't it better to know? Sometimes for your own sanity, you have to let people move on. But like I say every week, this is just my advice. Let's hear what they say on the streets.
think the guy should lose his weight and, you know, make it a level playing field.
But she just needs time to readjust to the new situation, the new body, you know?
I think it's a very difficult situation.
Well, maybe there is something else going on, so...
Well, maybe he should join her at the gym, they could do some menu plans together. He really needs to up his game.
You should start spiking her drinks with burgers.
I would lose weight like my girlfriend so that we can both have a fabulous life together.
She's just come across newfound confidence from shedding all the weight.
I say go, Tom.
It's okay, it's up to you whether you take our advice. But like I always say, a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you've got a dilemma, email us here at dilemma@tellvanessa.com. So we've come to the end of another great show. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as we have. I'd like to thank all our guests and thank you for sending in your dilemmas. Now I'm going to leave you with a great performance from a man who's rewriting the script. His name is Skripture.
Yo, my ears been burning. That must mean I'm warming. I seen some of my dark-scent vermin. Must be because of them signs, no warning. Meaning dollars I'm earning. Come on, ain't just talking. You see me on my 2 feet? Why you babies ain't walking? I've been going hard from early. You know the rule, don't go soft later. And you only see frowns if you're worthy. That's why I'm all smiles at a hater. Cause you only end up hurting if you rub me the wrong way like a grater. So instead of trying to stop my cheese, why not try and be greater? I'm just trying to do me like a chick. We both wanna move G's, get it? I ain't got nothing but kings in my clique. Brothers that always got queens, get it? I ain't got 12 for my black line, but I still got money in my jeans, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it, get it? Get it? We get it, but you brothers don't. You brothers don't get it. Yeah, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't. Like you brothers don't get it. Get it? Get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it. Get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it. Get it? Look, what you watching me for? I know my life's a movie. Don't me and my brothers ain't actors. If you do, we direct my shooting. I'm trying to stack more. Hunger pains, only money can suit me. Man's cut from a different cloth. So them haters want suit me. Need that paper, no news feed. So I'm clocking hours like a watchmaker. How me is popping up on your news feed. I see you, I might play up. This money dance be the routine. Making that dope, no baker. And still she gave me that cake. Even though another man dates. I'm just trying to do me like a chick. Yeah, we both wanna move G's, get it? I ain't got nothing but kings in my clique. Brothers that always got queens, get it? I ain't got 12 for my black line, but I still got money in my jeans, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it, get it? Get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it. Get it? Brothers don't get it. Get it? Get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it. Get it? Brothers don't get it. Get it? Get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it. Get it? Get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it. Get it? I'm just trying to do me like a chick. We both wanna move G's, get it? I ain't got nothing but kings in my clique. Brothers that always got queens, get it? I ain't got balls on my black line, but I still got money in my jeans, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it. You brothers don't get it, get it? I'm just trying to do me like a chick, yeah. We both wanna move G's, get it? I ain't got nothing but kings in my clique, yeah. Brothers that always got queens, get it? I ain't got balls on my black line, but I still got money in my jeans, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't. Nah, you brothers don't get it, get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it, get it? Get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it, get it? Get it? Get it? Get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it, get it? Brothers don't get it, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it, get it? Get it? Get it? Say get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it, you brothers don't get it, get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't. Nah, you brothers don't get it, get it? Get it? We get it, but you brothers don't get it, you brothers don't get it. Say get it? Yeah, we get it, but you brothers don't get it, you brothers don't get it, get it?
Tell Vanessa, tell Vanessa.